Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's weekly options watch list. Hopefully, you all had a wonderful weekend and are excited to getting back to trading here come Monday. Before I get into the top 5 stocks that I'm looking at, I want to do a quick breakdown of the ES futures here, like I do every week, to give us a good sense of where this market could potentially go this upcoming week and a few things we should be keeping our eyes on. So, let's get right into it. So if we zoom in here on the ES, we can see that we're finally starting to get a little rally to the upside after this aggressive downtrend. That was accompanied by this daily squeeze, propelling that up to the upside. And now that we're surpassing this +2 ATR, we technically could hit the +3 ATR, which would then coincide well with this area of consolidation previously, which should technically be a place of resistance on the market. So if we come here to the higher candles, we could look at that as a place of strong resistance for this market upcoming, and that also aligns then with the +3 ATR as well. So definitely keep your eye on this level up here to see if that will give this market some resistance this upcoming week due to it being a little overextended here on the daily time frame to the upside. Ideally, would like to see a pullback to the 8 EMA and then another push higher. So that's kind of what I'm watching here on the daily time frame. Let's go over to the weekly and take a look at that. So one thing to note here, and I've been talking about it for a while, is this weekly 21 EMA. This last week we finally got a nice strong close above that level, which is an indication that the trend here could be changing and starting to move back to the upside. Ideally, I'd like to see at least 2 weeks or 2 closes above that weekly 21 EMA to have a definite trend change, or potentially even a higher high breaking above these previous highs here. So those are definitely some levels I will be keeping my eyes on this week as well. But I do think in the early week we could get another retest of this 8 EMA on the daily time frame, just due to it being a little overextended here on that time frame. So that's kind of what I'm watching here on the ES, and now I'll get into the 5 plays that I'm looking at for the upcoming week. A few of them to the upside, a few of them to the downside, due to the market not quite knowing what its trend wants to be doing right now. So we'll start off here with AZN to the upside. So we have this nice daily squeeze that is forming here, even got into some high compression here. And we're just kind of pinging back and forth between this -1 ATR and this +1 ATR. And that is usually when our squeeze then develops, as you can see here. I like this one to the upside due to us having positively stacked EMAs. Our price action, every time it comes down to this 21, the last few times, has been holding it to the upside. Would like to see some of these light blue bars come into the histogram here, but it is above that zero line, which in my opinion is bullish, so I do like AZN to the upside. Next one here is Capital One to the downside. So we have negatively stacked EMAs. We're losing the bullish momentum here that we had on the squeeze histogram, and it looks like it wants to keep moving to the downside. Price action now has been holding also below that 21, and on Friday it got a close right at that level. So early this week I want to see if it can surpass that level or if it will reject that level, which then will be great to enter some puts here, as it should fall back down to this -2 ATR region like it has done previously. Next here on the list is Dollar General. And one thing to note here on this one is that we do have previous support at this 240 level, and it has held here once again as it retested it. I do like that, to see that it retested that, held it, and then bounced back up to the upside, and also filled that gap here on the daily time frame. So I think that this one now is ready to set up for another move to the upside due to us having the positively stacked EMAs, the reclaim of the 21 EMA. Ideally want to see 2 closes above it, but I do like to see that level being reclaimed, and we are getting this slingshot squeeze here as it is losing that bearish momentum and is starting to gain some bullish momentum. So I think this one will be a nice trade to the upside due to its structure being very bullish. Next one here is Dollar Tree to the upside as well. This one does have a gap to fill right around that 167-ish range, so I think it could make a move up to fill that gap. We do have our positively stacked EMAs, and we're in an acceleration stage, which is nice and bullish, and we are just starting to form this low compression squeeze. So ideally, I'd like to give this one maybe a few more days to see if we can get some red dots to make it an actual full squeeze. But I think if we can fill this gap and then retest the 21 EMA and hold, I think this one will be a great one for the upside. And then last but not least here, we have Twilio to the downside. So its overall trend here is very bearish. We have negatively stacked EMAs. Price action has never been able to really even break above this +1 ATR. So that, in my opinion, could even be a good place for an entry, is if you get a retest of that, just due to it previously not being able to break above that level. But as always, the 21 EMA is also a great place, in my opinion, to buy into your trades. And I also think this one's good to the short side due to us having this nice bearish momentum on the squeeze histogram, and its overall structure is in a very strong downtrend. So these are the 5 stocks I'm looking at for this upcoming week. Hopefully it gives you all a few other things to add to your own watch list and look at for this upcoming week. So let's go out there on Monday and start making some money, everybody.